Do you want to let them know that we're Chair Alderson? Is that? Nah.
Commissioner Alderson is absent today because his wife and his daughter and future new baby are over in Boise. And, probably getting ready for that. So I think we're kind of staying fairly close to the doctor given the situation we have here in Baker County. And,
Yeah.
and so over there, and I don't know how long he'll be there, but he's absent today. So I'm taking over, and that's why I asked if there was any instructions with this thing. So see if I can remember. So, okay, it's 9 o'clock. So we're starting September 6th, 2023, commission session. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, agenda changes. We have one deletion, but we'll probably have Donnie talk about it anyway. A little bit. It's the transportation, item number 3, down under scheduled business. Scheduled business B3 will be removed and we'll renumber Sage-Grouse Lick Carcass Disposal Station number 3. Then there's an addition, emergency authorization for Dan to buy a washer and dryer, or just a dryer for the jail. It went out, and so the prisoners don't like wearing wet clothes, so they're asking for an emergency authorization to purchase one over the $5,000 limit. So that will be number 4. Contact review. Any other?
So if you, since Donnie's here, where could she give a little update on? Did you just want to keep her in that spot, or?
How about, well, we could, or what do you think?
Yeah, that's good.
Just let her talk. Okay. Yeah. All right, we'll do it then. So, citizen participation. And so anything that's that you want to discuss that's not on the agenda. But if it's on the agenda, please hold your peace until that comes up.
Name's Arthur.
Address, please, Art.
Arthur Sappington, and it's 3055 apartment I on 10th Street here in Baker City. And I'm here on behalf again of the Snake River Music Gardens. We have, since the last time I was here, have come up with an issue on the Powder River watershed for TMDLs and Blackwater, and educating the rural community on the difference between gray water and Blackwater, and trying to keep the Blackwater out of the surfaces of waters in Baker County. So we're working with the Watershed Council on that. Our major first meeting for dealing with the state rules, which are not really in conflict, but are not justified under state statute yet, but are looking at the state plan and the state watershed policy to bring that into compliance with both the federal and state laws, and bringing their rules back from administrative policy to statutory authority. So that's one that we're working on. The other one that we're still following up on is the food ordinance. As Curtis Martin requested when we presented that, that the county potentially set up a public hearing, and we've been hearing grumblings against the ordinance that needs for the public's education, which I had agreed with Curtis that we should do that through that meeting group once it's set up. So we'd like to ask the county a timeline of when their attorney is going to review the ordinance as presented, that we did get everything right on the writing down for the statutory authorization for the county to do this, as well as setting up that working group and what the timeline will be for getting that working group and to ensure that Snake River Music Garden does have representation in that working group for the educational portion of that material.
Well, Art, my conversations with county council is she's extremely swamped right now with a lot of issues going on that we have to get taken care of before we can get this other stuff.
Yes, the reason we're bringing that up is, again, and I just got it this, when did I get that? This weekend with the state on raw milk issue that we're trying to deal with as well, with both a permit and a policy on the state. And that should be brought up in this group as part of this program, deals with that. Now that directly affects several programs here in Baker County, including the children that have dairy cattle for the 4-H projects would be addressed by that. What do I want to call it? A faux pas by uneducated urbanites. I
Yeah.
think that's the way of saying it.
I think that we
So-
have to, first is gonna have to be the council review. And then we can move to the group that you would like formed.
Right.
And with that, after council review, will come the public
So
hearing and the
can we
group
get
and on all of that.
a tentative date for that council review? Because if we can't get that, then that's a dead end as far as I'm concerned, because that could go on for months that we don't have. We're already coming up against a deadline for us to actually proceed to put this on the ballot. If we don't get the county review, then we got to take back for the for the group for them to go ahead and I figure that will miss the 2024 and it have to go to the 2025 election cycle is the way I understand it. So that's why I was trying to go this way. But if this way feels like it's not going to proceed with the review by the attorney, which wouldn't take her that long to go through and verify the section 4 of that, because that is all strictly straight statutory 101 law. And if there's nothing wrong with that, then we can proceed. If there is anything wrong with that, then we'll know not to proceed on that. And then we'll also know not to waste my time in pursuing the putting it on the ballot if it's in violation, because then I'd end up having to address that violation first.
Right. So it goes back to that's her workload right now is really heavy. I know that it is. And as far as getting it onto a ballot, have you talked with the clerk about that? Why can't you, I thought that you had until the 1st of next year to submit for the April or May primary.
That's not my understanding. My understanding was the end of September.
For November. But then also if you were to do, I believe that if you tried that and to do it in September for November special, because that'd be a special, it's gonna cost you
Right.
upwards of, what was it? It was like 11,000, something like that, for November. Next year is a regular year
Right.
for primary and the November voting. And so if you planned for the first of the year
Right.
for the May primary, you wouldn't have that cost, but because you will have a cost if you try to get it. And I'm not going to push council harder than what she already is right now.
Okay.
You know, I'm not against it, and we want to have that group and the public hearing and all of that, but we have to wait for that next step of,
Yes, I found
as far as the county
that
goes.
everybody that is against it because they don't understand it. And there's a whole lot of misinformation that's being put out there. Basically because it comes down to selecting who and who isn't going to be a producer.
Right.
So,
Well,
so
yeah, that's something that's going to have to come
that's
along with
another
the
issue.
group.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Art. Anyone else? Citizen participation? If not, we'll. Minutes.
And I went through them. I did not see anything.
Okay, want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the July 27th, 2023 special commission session minutes.
And I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye, aye.
I'll make a motion to approve August 2nd, 2023 commission session minutes.
I will second that motion. So the discussion you're supposed to ask for. So the only discussion is that had a little correction there, and you got it first, and I got it second.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So I got mine up last night. So
Oh,
anyway, so that's the end of the discussion, I guess. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. As
Heidi?
written, both documents.
Close this door.
So then we start with official business, so museum. When, you want the podium or the table or whatever you want?
Podium.
Okay.
Thank you.
So really, this is just an update on how it's gone this year since last year. We're having an even better season than last year, which is just fantastic. We've had 20 different countries represented by our visitors this year. Last year, it was only 17. Most of them from Canada, 22 different families from Canada this year, with a close second with the Netherlands. Again, 19 families from the Netherlands this
Oh,
year.
good.
And it's so curious because last year it was 17 and I just thought, why? So this year we've been asking them, what brought you to Baker? Apparently the Mole, that show plays over there, and it was a show in Oregon. So it has made them want to travel to Oregon. It's so strange to me, but I guess that's how they budget where they're going to travel.
I'm not familiar.
But any of their families that live in this area have told them not to miss our community,
Oh, good.
which is really cool to hear. We have had visitors from Israel, Turkey, and they've all come here and stayed for days, which is fantastic. 42 different states. We had 1,023 students this year for school tours, which is slightly higher than last year. But this year we are encouraging the schools, or have been encouraging the schools, to maybe bring them earlier in the year so that we don't have 1,000 students in May, because that's kind of how it's going. So this year we've already got 2 schools that are scheduled within the month of September. So that'll help us spread that out a little bit, not wear out our tour guides that are doing 5 tours a day
Yeah.
with little kids.
Yeah.
we have tons to celebrate this year. As I was leaving from the museum this morning, the inspector was there with Palmer Roofing to final inspect our roof, and we're so happy that that's done. I can sleep when it rains, which is fantastic. So we really appreciate that. The corner work is done, and we have almost an entire new sidewalk out of it, which is great on that Campbell side street. Our new exhibit, pairing with the OCCBA in Portland, the Chinese Benevolent Association, has been really good. It's become a really strong partnership. And we have actually taken over stewardship of the Chinese cemetery also.
Oh,
So Diana and Rocky Brown have kind of headed that up because it's just become Rocky's pet project. So he's cleaned it up. And I mean, you probably saw in the paper that they hired goats to clear out the weeds, which worked out really, really well. So we're excited to continue that partnership with them.
cost wise, is that? any cost
So
to
there's a
you
Virginia
so far?
Costal that she gives money every year out of her fund just specifically to take care of the cemetery. So that's what has paid for
That's
it.
the funding. Okay.
Yeah. This fall we have, on September 16th, the documentary Golden Cornucopia is going to premiere at the museum. We're really excited. He sent me a preview yesterday, and it's actually done really, really well. He should be really proud, and
good.
and so should we about this, this story about our county,
Mhm.
which is really incredible. He's going to let us keep the equipment so that we can continue to show the film throughout the winter. And I'm really hoping that it's not so big, it's not mobile, so that I can take it to the senior homes
Oh,
for the
that'd be
people that
nice.
can't get out,
Yeah.
have a movie night.
That'd be nice.
Because probably a lot of them were up there
Mhm.
and they know that place,
Mhm.
and they know the stories and the people. This winter, we will be busy. I reached out to some design firms about the new exhibit for the Armstrong Nugget. Their costs have significantly raised in the last 2 years, so we're going to do it ourselves.
Mm,
We have some really talented volunteers, and it's not that we couldn't do it. We just were hoping to have professionals come in on that. The design firm out of Portland, he said, he was very upfront with me, told me some really great companies that I could possibly work with for casework and things like that that are really high security cases that he knows what my plan is in my head.
Okay.
And he said, I can call anytime, we can ask questions, he'll help in any way he can.
Oh, good.
So that's really nice. We have, between now and December, we're doing a class with Ariel Riker. She has a master's of museum science. She's the Baker City downtown director.
All right.
But she is hosting it. It's kind of a museum 101 for our volunteers and for the public, so that they can learn more about how a museum works and what we do behind the scenes and why we do those things, which will hopefully help deter people from just dropping things off at the front door because they're old. We've continued a lot of partnerships with Crossroads and Nahotic, and we're setting up something new with 5J and Aaron Lair, and we're hoping to be able to bring students in on maybe a work study kind of thing, or something to where they can participate more in the history of our county. I especially want to look at middle school kids because I feel like they're kind of forgotten. There's lots of stuff for high school kids. There's lots of stuff for young kids, but those middle school kids are just kind of forgotten.
Mm.
So luckily Marco Valerio works and he's one of our commissioners. So we've got an in there with him too. We'll be at Taste of Baker this year with Nahotic. We will have they're going to bring down one of their wagons, and Blatchford Farms is donating potatoes. So we're going to
Oh.
have local food, and their Nahotic is going to do like a butter churning
Oh, fun.
so that kids can make butter.
Yeah.
Cream's so expensive, we won't supply the cream, but we will supply everything else. Questions?
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night.
And I
Yeah.
saved all your newspaper clippings, so.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I have them in a safe at work. Sherry takes good pictures.
Have a good day.
You too.
So, let's see, So we'll start contract review board and Gary Kim, you're up.
You have to do the gavel. You have to enter into contract review board.
Operating instructions. Contract review board. is all.
That was,
Speaking
that
things harder
really.
than that. There.
Like that there over there,
Wherever you want to go.
wherever you want.
Okay.
That's my idea here.
So what you guys have in your packet is a federal grant that we finalized oddly enough last year on October 7th of 2022. And we just now have gotten the full agreement for signatures. It's the Community Wildfire Defense Grant. This was the grant that we wrote in order to update our Community Wildfire Protection Plan. And we were kind of slated to start in January, but got told that the grant needed to be initiated before the end of the year, which makes sense. So
Oh.
I would have had it to you sooner, but I got it right after last month's session. And so this is the first time I could get to you. So
Okay.
if you have any questions,
Might describe the grant a little bit more. So kind of-
okay, yeah,
Yeah, I saw that it was for updating the wildfire protection plan. But yeah, if you could,
sure. There's,
talk about the weapons a little bit too, but
okay. Yeah, each county in Oregon is required to have a community wildfire protection plan. And those plans are, I really appreciate them because they're not only an opportunity for fire service to have direct input on what they need or want, but the community has, a role in sharing their thoughts and things like that. It's everything in what we do for fire prevention, how we coordinate on training, right down to mitigation pages. There's 28 wildland urban interface areas in Baker County. Those are areas that communities have identified over the years, fire service has identified over the years. And so the mitigations are things that we go after, whether it's training, equipment, fuels reduction, development of firewise communities, whatever it's going to, in that area, reduce
Okay.
a catastrophic fire. So
Okay.
the plans are redone every 5 years. We got hiccuped during COVID, so we're a little behind, but oddly enough, it slid us right into the middle of the window of this grant.
right,
So, yeah, we're
fate.
somewhat worked out. So,
So it's a 5-year plan and you've got contract for $25,000. Now, who and
the full grant is for, okay, yeah, the full grant's for 246,000.
Mhm.
Part of that would be going to support my program in order to implement the development of that. In that grant, I put in $25,000 for contractual services because there's GIS work that I'm probably not licensed to do. But better
Oh.
people out there to do that. We have not identified a contractor, but obviously that would come before you guys. We have played with some options. There are some folks at the Oregon Department of Forestry, for example. There could be some county, I just put it in the budget. So,
you don't know how much it's going to cost? I was worried about the inflation situation. Are we going to be able to meet all the requirements of this grant?
I think so. I think so. The contractor is probably not going to be full-time, but packaging maps and things like that. So I don't think it would be a long 5-year duration with a contractor, more of a bring the pieces together.
So I think I also read there was supposed to be a 10% match, but it was waived for us.
Correct.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, I identified that the grant allowed us to waive the federal match if we were underserved community, which Baker County was under their criteria, low income. And so the other thing I'd add is this was one of those grants that we were also trying to do with Union, Wallowa, and in Baker, we're going to do a tri-county grant for an implementation project. You could either write an implementation project or a plan. And the implementation process failed. It wasn't funded. And then we had about 5 days to throw this together and we got it. So knock on wood. The rest of them, we're going to do their plans later.
So you need signatures by when?
I'll discuss that with you guys. As soon as we can sign it, I will scan it and get it to Portland. The second gentleman's name, Alexander, or he's right below. He'll sign it and then send it back to us.
Oh, Alex Robertson.
Alex, there you go.
Okay.
With Shane,
So I noticed that, yeah, you have Shane's signature on there.
that would be my question.
Yeah, so we may line that out and just put Bruce or Christine on there.
In lieu of,
in lieu of Shane.
okay. And I can make a call today. I'm sure that would work.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Anybody?
I'm just wondering when it needs to be signed.
Today would be great.
Today.
So who signs? All of us or just one? Or what?
Just requires one signature.
And if you're not available, I'm here all afternoon for meetings. So whichever way you want to do it, just let me know. I'll be
Okay.
here all day.
So, we're good to sign it then.
Yeah.
So we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the CWDG agreement.
I'll second that motion. And had it already.
For the grant award amount of 246,000. That should probably be in there.
I seconded that, so,
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Um,
Thank you, Gary.
You betcha.
while I have you here, have you
Sure.
how long has it been, or have you ever talked to Greenhorn about WUI?
I've not talked to Greenhorn, but Floodwater Flats at Anthony has completed their application and they've put in.
Okay.
And Unity Lake, Unity Reservoir, but we all agreed it was easier to spell lake. So they
Yeah.
became Unity Lake Fire. So they're in, but I have not been able to reach Greenhorn.
Okay,
And Bourne is still kind of interested, but hasn't moved forward.
okay. And there is a big project coming up with the Wallowa Whitman National Forest for 3 projects up there that you're probably aware of around Bourne. Yesterday, Donnie Brulin and I were up at Greenhorn because the road department's up there doing an IGA for a grant that they got for road improvement. Met with Mayor Kohlermeyer, and I will give you his information so you can contact him because we did directly talk about WUI and possibility. Just sitting on his deck yesterday, I'm like, that needs cleaned up.
Yeah.
This big section. A lot of it looks good, but then there's some sections that if a fire started, it'd be bad. And then they're also looking at helicopter pad emergency management related, so that they could get injured people in and out. And there's just a few things like that we talked about yesterday, and I thought we should bring you guys into the conversation so that you can carry on and go forward with it. Hopefully, maybe get another WUI going.
Well, there is a Greenhorn WUI, but get another Firewise community.
A Firewise
Yeah,
community. Yeah, sorry.
And how that plan works is we need the helipad in the plan. So
I mean,
Perfect
yeah,
timing.
there's several things coming together, and I just thought it's really good, and the road improvement and everything at the same time. It's good timing.
perfect time.
So I'll be
Yeah.
in touch with you.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Ryan. You're up.
So the road department's looking to purchase a pressure washer. This is a portable unit, engine driven. So we can take it to our rock crusher pit. Primarily is where we're gonna probably use it the most. So it gets covered in dirt and rocks and things. And before we transport that stuff, right now they're blowing it off with an air hose, sucking dirt. Takes them all day long to clean it up and transport it. And so,
How big is this unit? I mean,
Our
is it something
crusher?
that you tow?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I don't know, it's 60 foot or so.
okay, this
It's long.
isn't, it's not a Harbor Freight, just go
No.
down and get a pressure
Oh, no, this
washer.
pressure washer, yeah, it's decent sized. It's hot water. Yeah, it's a good unit.
How does it do that? Do you have propane hooked to it or something like that to go
gas-
mobile?
It's gas powered.
Oh, okay.
So we just gotta supply water via our water truck or water trailer, and we can use it anywhere.
Okay,
And it would also serve as a backup unit for if the one at the shop goes down or at halfway, we could use it there while we're working on them.
That's not a mobile unit.
Yeah, they're not mobile. They plug in 220.
I see that all of the pricing, the bids were pretty close.
Yes,
Where's North Star?
they're in Pasco.
Okay,
Yep, they're our local dealer.
okay.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the portable hot water pressure washer for the road department for an amount of $9,341.88 from North Star Clean Concepts Hosty. I think that's it. Yeah.
I'll second that motion. Discussion, anybody? If not, all in favor, say
I,
aye.
Thank you, guys.
would that clean out Bishop Springs?
There probably might be something. Dan
Just
might be able to
wondering.
use it as strip paint or something someday.
First thing that came to my mind when I saw it, I totally get your equipment needs, dirt cleaned off of it.
Donnie, you're up to tell us why we took you off the agenda.
All right, well, I wish I was here asking you to sign a contract for Community Connections of Northeast Oregon to amend the amount that we had already allocated them. We met on August 15th with the TAC Committee, the Transportation Advisory Committee, to reallocate funds for the STIF project as well as the FTA 5310 Senior and Disabled Citizens Funding. The TAC did approve the reallocation of funds, including the additional 25,000 for the FTA 5310, which brings Community Connections up to a full amount of $162,148 for the biennium. FTA 5310 funds are solely for senior and disabled. In addition, we increased their allocation to continue the rights to wellness for people that fall through the cracks. This is a copay service through CCNO. We did that for $80,000 over the biennium. The money is in the budget. It came from the Elkhorn Taxi going out of business. These were funds that were allocated to Elkhorn Taxi. So the money is there. You do not have a contract because between Kim and myself, we were not able to get our schedules together to get that finalized.
So what do we need to do then, and what's your timeline?
So Heidi and I talked yesterday. I think we could go ahead and go for the October 4th meeting,
That's okay?
unless something would happen in between, you guys decided to suddenly meet. We'll go for the October 4th meeting, retroactive to October 1st.
Okay.
Questions?
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Morgan.
Morgan.
So we're doing things kind of backwards here for this carcass disposal station, but this is following up from the grant agreement you guys signed at the last commission session. What you have in front of you is an MOA with Baker County and Baker Sanitary Service, and then also a lease agreement between the two. The MOA, I want to bring your attention to first. The MOA basically lines out the fact that Baker County will own the carcass disposal station while the grant agreement is in place. But as soon as the grant agreement closes, and it's slotted for December of 2024 to close, but it could end sooner, that ownership from Baker County will transfer to Baker Sanitary Service. This is just to account for the fact that Baker County is purchasing the materials, the labor, the construction of the carcass disposal station. The lease agreement follows up with that and lays out basically just saying that everything should be followed under the MOA, and that Baker County will lease that section of land from Baker Sanitary Service while the carcass disposal station is being constructed and while the grant agreement is open. The one thing I wanted to mention with the MOA too is that Baker Sanitary Service has to operate the carcass disposal station as a carcass disposal station for 5 years at least. And if for whatever reason it does not work out, like we see unforeseen circumstances pop up, and they have to close or they don't use it as a carcass disposal station before that 5 years up, they will have to pay a prorated amount. This is number 5 in the MOA. And it lays out the percentages that we've suggested throughout the
Refunding
years.
100%
Yep.
of the grant funds.
So if it's within 3 years, 75% before 4 years, 50 before 5 or after 4, and then 0 after 5.
Okay.
So any questions? That
In signing this now, does this, I mean, this is the next step that you need. It's not going to mess up any steps that, we have a meeting this afternoon, then tomorrow, and,
I don't think so.
okay.
I'm not sure. What, do you have concerns? Do you have any?
No,
Okay.
you kind of said that you kind of indicated that
was
maybe this was
backward.
out of order.
Well, we would have liked to have this with the grant agreement, so you could have signed them all at once.
Oh, okay.
But this is how it is. So.
Sure. So this, I just want to make sure because it says a review of MOA and lease agreement. This is approval of the MOA and lease agreement, basically not, okay. I'll make a motion to approve the MOA and lease agreement.
I think you said each separate.
Yeah, it might be better if you do 2 separate motions.
Okay,
One for the MOA and one for
so one for, I'm sorry,
one for each.
oh, of the MOA and then the lease agreement and then the lease, okay. I'll make a motion to approve the MOA between Baker Sanitary Services and Baker County for the carcass disposal station at the Baker Sanitary Station.
Sorry, that motion. Discussion? None? Question? All in favor, say. Aye.
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 And then I'll make a second motion to approve the lease agreement between Baker County and Baker Sanitary for the carcass disposal station.
That motion. Discussion?
Just one question. So if Shane's not here, this is like.
That's what I also noticed that it is Shane's, or, well, no, there's all 3 of us actually.
There's 3 of you. Yeah.
Okay, it just
It
shows
should be fine.
Cheryl.
You just need 2 signatures.
Great. We're good there. Okay. I also wanted to note that we were, like Donnie, we were not able to get a contract together for the groundwork for this session. That probably might have to be signed out of session and then ratified at the October 4th meeting, if that's possible.
Is that something we can do? She's working on getting those agreements together. You guys have already approved the bids. So it would just be putting a little contract together and then getting those signed. and then ratified at the October 4th session. Are you? Okay.
Anything else?
So,
Well, we don't have it. We don't have it.
I've got a question on the favor.
I.
Aye.
Do we need a third motion then for signing out of session for the October?
Yeah, if you could do that. It's not, we don't like to do it this way, but it's better unless you guys want to have a special meeting. But if you guys are okay where you've already approved the bids, we can have authorizing one of you to sign out of session and then bring it back for approval.
Ratify October 4th.
Yeah.
And what is the title of that? Would be,
So it would be a motion to authorize you or Bruce to sign the contract agreements with Rogers Asphalt and Model
excavating.
Excavating.
O'Connell. Yes. I'll make a motion to authorize the contract agreement with Rogers Asphalt and O'Connell Excavating to be signed out of session and ratified October 4th.
I'll second that motion. Further discussion? No further question, all in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't have any opposed, obviously, so.
No.
Nothing works.
And we have a meeting in here, Morgan, this afternoon from 1 to 3? Yep. Okay. See you then.
Mr. McQuiston, you're up.
Good morning.
Morning.
So what I'm bringing to you is associated with replacing a commercial dryer out at our Justice Center and jail. And so a little background on that. With that 50-bed facility out there, they maintain everything in-house as far as laundry services, and that's for their, clothing and bedding and other, janitorial cleaning supplies and whatnot. And so those units that service that are original to the construction of the building when it was first installed. Recently, we have had some issues with the dryer. We unfortunately just replaced a drum motor and a few other parts. It's been working well. And then last week, Lieutenant Ray contacted me. They were starting to have trouble with it just operating in general. Reached out to commercial repair service that we've used in the past on these models from Boise, provided them the make, model, serial number, all that kind of information, kind of described to them the problem we were having. They identified that it would be a control board issue. So they would, prior to coming out and making the trip to get here, they were going to bring parts with them to make the needed repair. In attempting to find those needed parts, they can't be had anymore. The unit is just simply so old. Even on the secondary market, scouring eBay and a few other processes, not to be had. And so the unit's basically defunct at this point. They're limping it along. I'm just barely. And so on the tail of that, reached out to suppliers, started getting pricing with the long holiday weekend. Just kind of finalized that as of this morning with a couple. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get, a full staff report put together and a presentation for you. So what I'm asking for today is just requesting purchase authorization of up to $8,000 to replace this unit. Go ahead and get that ball rolling, and then bring back the staff report with the pricing bids and whatnot for that October 4th meeting for ratification at that time. So kind of through an emergency process, and I have discussed this with the sheriff and the jail lieutenant out there, and they have definitely expressed their need for this to be considered an emergency and move forward with it immediately to get
So
that.
you can purchase it.
So that we can purchase
now
it,
and
yeah.
then bring us
Correct.
basically the receipt later.
Yes, correct.
Okay. How old is the current unit? Do you know?
It was, it was installed with the building of the jail in 93, but
Ah.
it was actually a used unit when they installed it. So we don't exactly know how old it is. The jail itself is pushing 30 years old, so that puts it 30 plus years
So you
old.
get your money out of it.
It's definitely served its purpose, so.
And you feel that 8,000 is,
Yeah, it's definitely going to be sufficient with the pricing I'm getting back, especially with one of the suppliers in Boise. Part of their the unit cost on that was approximately $6,500, and then they also include delivery. They take delivery of it in Boise, bring it over, remove the old one, and install the new one. And as commercial units, these are natural gas fired with 3-phase electricity to them
Oh,
for the
wow.
drum motors and stuff. And so it's definitely outside the scope of something we would do in-house anyhow. So if we weren't paying them, we would have to pay local contractors on
sure,
top of that, which would even be more expensive.
they
So,
know what they're doing.
Yeah.
How long is it gonna take?
we're hoping within the next 15 days,
Do you,
but we're hoping that's.
do you have
hoping.
lines strung out in that outside court yard right now for drying?
Well, while the weather's still nice. Yes,
Not in Monday's rain or whatever
Yeah,
that was, Sunday.
exactly.
Doesn't work, maybe, because you don't take on.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody wants to take on that duty.
Uh-uh.
And again, these dryers too, this particular dryer is larger than that cabinet. It's a 75-pound drum. So I mean, it's designed to take really
Big.
large loads
Yeah.
of laundry. So.
I'll make a motion to approve the $8,000 purchase of the dryer unit for the sheriff's department,
I'll say up to.
up to 8,000.
So I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? And so we'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
We also set up a big fan.
Bang the gavel.
Yeah.
Contract review board. Okay, I'm now for the contract review board at 9:47. Regular session again. So, Heidi, you're up for the Baker County policy.
Sure. So in 2019, there was a new law passed for paid leave Oregon. Since then, they have been working on finalizing the rules. They're now at a spot, starting in January of this year, they started taking those deductions out of employees' paychecks to help fund the program. That amount is, so 1% of the wages, with the 60% of the 1% is paid by the employee,
Mhm.
and then 40% is paid by the employer. The program allows employees to be off work for typically 12 weeks, but in certain circumstances, they can take an additional 2 weeks off. And so it's a paid leave program. It's ran through the state employment department. And so they administer it. They have a program called Francis that they will notify us through this program when employees do take leave. When they do, they're also required to take FMLA-OFLA leave, which stands for Family Medical Leave Act, which is the federal leave act, and then OFLA is the Oregon Family Leave Act, which is the state side. So that policy is also in here. So anyways, when they go to take leave, they also are then enrolled in the county's FMLA-OFLA program, leave program. If you look at the paid leave Oregon one, there was a couple things I wanted to point out. I should mention first that this policy is a template by our insurance company, CIS. And then we go through and get it dialed into Baker County. So there's a couple spots that had some changes that were pertinent to Baker County that we're allowed to customize to what we want. So on the page, bottom of page 2, and then the top of page 3, it's the accrued leave and holiday pay while on leave. We modified this section to fit with our current practice of when employees accrue their leave time, so their vacation, sick, and just paid time off. So when they're out on leave, so if they're on paid leave Oregon, if they're getting a paycheck through the county, they have to work through the 16th in order to accrue their vacation and sick time. So if they're out and they have enough paid leave on the county side that gets them a paycheck through the 16th, then they will earn full leave accrual, if that makes sense. So if they run out of leave on the county side, say on the 10th, then they don't earn leave for that month. So you have to have a paycheck through the 16th in order to earn a full leave accrual, is what that paragraph is about. And then later down at the bottom of page 3, we also made some edits there. Use of accrued leave to supplement paid leave Oregon benefit. So employees can choose whether or not they want to use their paid leave on the county side. So they're going to get paid roughly 60% through paid leave Oregon. And then they can choose to get a paycheck from the county. And so they can, our policy says, if you do choose to get a paycheck, it's just a full paycheck until you run out of leave time, and then it's unpaid leave. Or you just don't get a paycheck from the county. So they can choose whether or not they get paid through the county, but if they are going to get paid through the county, we're going to use all of their leave time until they run out.
Okay.
But that being said, they could also stop. What we're not going to do is if they're getting 60% for paid leave Oregon, we're not going to try and figure out the other 40%, or, you know, it's just either a full paycheck until they run out of leave. So that's what that paragraph is about.
Okay, 60% or the full paycheck from the
Yeah, so
county.
they'll get 60% over here from paid leave Oregon,
Yeah.
and then they could get a full paycheck depending on how much paid leave they have in their bank
Okay,
from the county.
okay.
But it's not going to be, they can't say, well, I only want to use 20 hours of my paid leave time.
It's either none
Yeah,
or all.
it's, yeah. So that's what that paragraph is about. Everything else is just standard language and consistent with what the law is. The second policy, because we were adopting the paid leave Oregon policy, we also wanted to take a look and make sure the FEMLA OFLA policy was consistent with other leave going on with paid leave Oregon. So I went through and looked at it. Again, it's a template from CIS. Nothing really changed. There was one section that was added, and it was related to public health emergencies, which I'm sure is a result of COVID. And it's located, it starts mentioning it on page 3, right in the middle of the page. It talks about public health emergency. And it's only when the governor declares an emergency.
Okay.
So anyways, so that was the main change with that. Everything else is basically the same.
Okay,
So the motion today would just be to request that the commissioners approve the paid leave Oregon policy and also the FEMLA OFLA policy for the county.
are you ready? All right, I will make a motion to approve the Baker County leave policy for the paid leave Oregon Do you need three separate
Y-
or just
yeah, you can combine them all if you want.
the PA? Okay, Paid Leave Oregon, FMLA and OFLA.
Well, Heidi said she had
Policies.
policy numbers.
Yeah, you'll see at the top in the header, it says to be determined as far as policy number. And as I start getting the policy handbook updated, we'll add numbers to those and just incorporate it in. So,
Okay,
yeah.
All second the motion. Discussion. We already had that, so I'll call for the question. Vote. All in
aye.
favor, say aye. You did. Oh, documents to be signed. Order number 23-143, appointing members to the Fair Advisory Board.
So we have three. Looks like,
Two, Kathleen Parker and Daniel Garrett for the Fair Board. That one.
oh,
We have three orders. but
three
there's-
orders.
yeah,
Okay.
separate, this is just for the Fair Board. Fair Advisory. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. So on the first one, I will make a motion to approve Kathleen Parker and Nathaniel Garrick to serve as members of the Fair Board Advisory Committee for order number 2023-143. I wasn't sure if there was a timeframe for them.
Uh,
I didn't see that.
September.
Set to expire
September
September 1,
2026.
2026.
Okay, I'll
Thank you.
second that motion. Questions? Discussion, rather. Now I'll call for the question. That, take the motion, so that means aye. So I think
Aye.
aye. So, okay, we approve.
I'll make a motion to approve order number 2023-144, reappointing members to the Wolf Depredation Compensation Advisory Board. And that would be Shella Del Curto and Kurt Jacobs for a term expiring September 1, 2026.
I will second that motion. Further discussion, it's an advisory committee. Not advisory board, but that's okay. Just terminology, so it's all right. Right,
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I said committee. Sorry.
so all in favor, say
Aye.
aye.
I'll make a motion to approve order number 2023-145, appointing Charles Listman to the Planning Commission for a term to expire September 1st, 2027.
I will second that motion. Further discussion. So, call for the question. I want to vote.
Aye.
I will vote aye as well. So. Three orders to approve. So ratification of documents. There.
Got this. EFS.
Yeah.
EFS. Exterior insulation finish
Oh,
system.
right.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Everybody. So, this is just ratifying their signature, mention that this is a one-time deal. bring their bids here so we can look at them. They can approve, but then we need to make sure we know what they're about. So that's one kind of deal that we're gonna run from the signature.
Right, and this is for Desert Sage Wall Systems LLC out of Caldwell, Idaho. For the 44,000. I will make a motion to ratify the signatures for the EIFS project contract between Baker County Fair Board and Desert Sage Wall Systems LLC out of Caldwell, Idaho for 44,000.
I'll second that motion. Further discussion? So I'll call for the question.
Aye.
Aye. That's true.
And Angela,
Reports.
while we're on fair, your daughter has been, is it, your daughter has been in the paper and the paper and the paper? Do you have like several? You don't see the paper? You have one at college? You have a senior this year. Okay. All right. I've been seeing last name Rob in a lot of the sports and,
Yeah, she's the only senior on site.
oh, okay. We're gonna see a lot of her this year.
So, you guys, this guy usually forced me to do this, I'll go ahead and make a motion. On the financial report that we approve, account payable and account payable report, C-33, C-34, C-36, C-37, C-38, C-39, C-40, C-41, C-42, C-43, C-45, and payroll and accounts payable reports, C-01, C-02, C-03, C-44, C-95, C-96, C-97, C-98.
And you have to include the accounts payable reports C-46 and C-49. They're kind of listed off to the right at the end of the,
Oh.
you ended at 45. You ended at 45.
Okay, correct. Thank you. Second motion?
I'll second.
Motion been seconded, and so call for the questions, and since we're the only ones that looked at them, that would be us. So. All right,
Aye.
Commissioner update.
Go ahead. Let me see. When did we meet last? Let's see, the 16th. Was it the 16th? Was the last time? Gosh, so
Yeah,
much is.
it's been quite a while.
Yeah, well, I can tell you since the 16th, we had lunch with Becky Kahn, who heads up the Hells Canyon Chamber. Talked to her about the county kiosk out in Halfway, before Halfway, that the county owns that. I don't know if everybody's aware of that, but Hells Canyon Chamber has been taking care of it. It's in really good shape, but the parks realized that the county owned that, and so we met with her, talked to Becky Kahn about a few things relating to the kiosk and just other items out in the Halfway Richland area, Hells Canyon Chamber area. I also attended a Lau Whitman open house on the 17th, and that was kicking off the process for the Blue Mountain Forest Plan revision. And they do have maps that are at the entrance to the office there on Dewey in the federal building. And they want people to go in and put little dots on what's important to them. And different colored dots as for different color of importance. I say the whole thing should just be a whole block that all of it's important to our county. So that's just my take on that. We also had meetings about the ODFW sage grouse mapping. It has been revised since the conception around 2010, something like that. And it actually, right now, their mapping has more science and data behind it than what they did initially when they were scrambling, trying to keep the sage grouse off of the endangered list and start the LITs and the CCAs and all of that that has to do with the sage grouse. And so what's interesting is that some of the areas that were originally mapped actually decreased. Some increased a little bit in some areas, but for the most part, it wasn't anything that's threatening, that wasn't there before. It seems to me that it's either, the same or a little bit less, even though there are a few places where they found them to be a little increased out Durkee area, sort of in that area. So that is in comment period right now. So anybody can go on to the ODFW sage grouse mapping and look at the maps and all of that. They've done it for the whole state. So you can look at Baker County specifically and check it out and comment. And from NRAC, we'll probably be commenting on behalf of the county. So they met with us personally to present it, and then we had a public hearing after that. So and really there wasn't much negative that came out of it. It was pretty cut and dry. So more data actually. It was better. Met with Congressman Bentz, and I believe, well, you did as well, and then sat through the town hall. I also attended the Texas A&M preparedness class earlier that day, and I see that in my email I have a certificate for that. That was a good class. If anybody has opportunity in the future, I found it very informative, and they did a real professional job, the two presenters, so in presenting it. Yeah, and let me see, ODFW Public Sage Grouse Habitat, Wolf Committee. Wolf Committee has met several times. And we did allocate funds for range riding. We have more funding coming in, so we have a lot more to do on that as far as the Wolf Committee goes. And then having a new Wildlife Services non-lethal agent for Baker County, working with Aaron on all of the non-lethal issues and supplies, working with Aaron. Let's see, Labor Day, and that kind of catches me up. I do have AOC Natural Resources meeting, it looks like tomorrow. I don't know if you guys have legislative coming up or not, but okay, yeah, they have a resources meeting tomorrow, it looks like.
Yeah, there are several little or something like that. You can attend if you want to.
Yeah, I think that was one that was on my radar. Do you want me to just go ahead and do the calendar comparison then?
Well, you're on the roll.
So this afternoon I meet with the sage grouse LIT again, and then I also meet with them tomorrow about the carcass pickup program with Wildlife Services. Wellness Committee is this afternoon. I'm kind of curious about that. So that's a first for me. I have one idea that I'd like to do. So,
Okay.
And then tonight at 6 p.m. at the library, Carlos Ochoa, the professor from OSU who helped us with the TMDL third-party study, will be at the library, and he'll be talking about water. tomorrow night from 4 to 6, Crossroads OCF reception. So that's, and I can't remember what OCF stands for. That's in my calendar.
Community Foundation.
Community Foundation, right. So I was gonna drop in there and just meet with them. We have ethics training on the 12th. And yeah, 12th is the ethics training, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's 12,
Yeah, morning of the 12th.
so I'm not showing up on the.
You might be here alone.
I-
Let's see, and then, gosh, and then we're not having our other sessions. So OTEC Summit on the 20th. Are you going to attend? Did you decide?
I haven't signed up yet, but I'm
Yeah,
going
sign
to
up.
because I don't travel till the next day, so.
Yeah, I did sign up and I did use the commissioner's card, so, because I think it's 50.
Right.
But you may be past the deadline, so it may be 75 for you now. You'll just have to pay more. And then it looks like on the 25th, Owens and Finley have a town hall at 3 p.m. And then the 29th, I'm over in Pendleton for fire mapping for that. Was that 742 or something like that? For the fire mapping at Pendleton. And I've asked Jason Yanchapal and Gary Tim to also be there. So yeah, and then there's Freedom Rally that night, the 29th here, I think around the park. And then we go into the October 4th session. And I think
On
I
the 29th?
29th is a Freedom Rally, 29th and the 30th. They're gonna have it over 2 days. It starts at 5 p.m. with Freedom Rally dinner on the 29th, and then the 30th, Saturday, is a full day. And I know there's a flyer in the entrance, but I don't think I have an electronic flyer. I'd have to look for that. And yesterday I spent the day out at Ebell at 7 o'clock in the morning in a side-by-side, looking at issues up there and stuff. And then went up to Greenhorn, met the mayor. The issues that around the open range and things like that have been solved up in Greenhorn. So we met with just really positive from the mayor. He was really happy with the road department and the work that they're doing. I mean, they were busy, roller and belly dumps and dump trucks and backhoe and graders and everything going. I mean, that town was just busting with equipment. So we got to meet
All
with.
non-residents, right?
Yeah. And yeah, it's, they have a 5-member city council, and it's just crazy, but it was really nice to meet Mayor Kohlermeyer and his wife and dog in person and talk about just some of the issues. And then I'll be following up with Gary, Tim, and Jason about a couple of those. So
So Greenhorn does actually exist then.
it does. It was a really fun time up there.
I've never
And
been there.
Donnie grew up up there in a cabin with her parents, her grandparents, and her uncle, she said,
Oh,
and like 2 or 3 miles out of Greenhorn. And so towards the end, we went back towards the city center, where the flag is. That's how you know it's city center. And some people pulled up on ATV and stuff, and it was all just like reunion time for Donnie. It was hilarious. And so, but yeah, so that's my take.
Okay, so, I had a very busy week back on, starting with August 20th. So that was a Sunday, and I was encouraged to attend the Veterans Appreciation Day at the golf course.
Yeah, how'd your
And
golfing
so
go?
After church, I put on my veterans hat, and I went up there and found out that all the veterans were out already playing golf, which wasn't very many. But they had free lunch and stuff like that for the veterans.
So that was a
nice
good
thing.
reason to go.
Yeah, and I did go for the free lunch, but also played golf, which wasn't. We're not gonna talk.
On par, off par?
It was way over par. So, and I did meet Rick Gloria there, and Union County also attended. They were inside, so I didn't go check on their services and everything, but they, I guess people were going in and finding out about services, so they did a good job up there. But Peter Johnson said the big veterans deal is up at Empty Lakes later in the year. And
For
maybe the
ficking.
first of the year, or the end of the year.
Yeah, when they have the free ski day up
Yeah.
there and it's just for them.
I think it's like, November, December or something.
I think it's later. I think it's like January, February.
I think it's, yeah, later.
February, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure. I know there's lots of snow on the ground up there.
Yeah.
And so I've been encouraged, and I've never been there for that. I've been asked to go several times. The way I think it's too cold, but maybe I'll go this year. Because I'm not a skier. I tried it once on the bunny hill, and not a good bunny either. And so I
Take your sled. Tube.
So anyway, I probably will attend that next one. When that pops up. Then on the 21st, there I got a call from Andrea. She's a medical doctor, newly hired person with the Oregon Health Authority.
Mhm.
And she was making a tour of Eastern Oregon and called me up to, we talked at, starting at 8 o'clock and I finished about 9:30. And so she got her earful of Baker County's issues. And so I brought up the hospital. We had a long discussion about that kind of stuff. And COVID and how Oregon Health Authority is working with new directions and stuff like that. So, and she had someone else with her, and I didn't get that lady's name, but she had a separate meeting that she had to attend, and then they were both, well, I think she went to the prison first. And had a meeting at 8 o'clock there, or 8:30, I guess. And then Laura had a meeting at both at the directions after they were done. With me. That was about 45 minutes. Got a positive note back from her, and she was relaying all the stuff that we had. She perceived that we had talked about to the governor. And so governor was surprised on all of that stuff. So then on the 22nd, at the directions meeting at 7 a.m. And that out of the way. Then we had, Heidi and I had a meeting out at OTEC from 12 to 2. Heidi and I and Sarah Haynes and a lot of the broadband providers. Productive meeting, but we still came away with a lot more questions than answers, I think. And but it didn't lead us down the path, right direction to, at least we knew what kind of questions to ask. And so I think that helped out a little bit. And let's see, on Thursday, we met with Representative Vance and in the afternoon there. And then on Tuesday, the 29th, Heidi and I
Are you talking the Technam?
this is the, yeah,
Sheriff was there.
the sheriff, yeah.
Oh, you guys did meet with Technium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we met with them and listened to them about it. Very expensive. And there could be a place, but for them here, but the sheriff didn't really seem to think that would really work for him. He thought Starlink was probably better. What we could afford and stuff like that, but so as time goes on, maybe that price of that system they have will come down and maybe or need that where we can actually utilize that.
That's what I was gonna ask. Is it a system that would work for our county or not? You know, I mean, is there something else out there? Is that what you still have to find?
It would work, but the problem is the cost of
Just the
it is
cost of
so expensive. And, just a portable unit for the, have to have an antenna too, but 25 grand just for that. Then you have to have heater stations all over every quarter mile.
Sure. Yeah, I couldn't remember how far.
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
so it would work, but that's an ongoing cost of maintenance and
I think Jason looked into it.
yeah, Jason
Grant
looked
County.
into the cost and I couldn't remember what he had actually said, but anyway, it's $4,000 for units that Grant County has. That's just maintenance costs, annual maintenance, plus the $25,000 for each unit, and then whatever it costs for the little repeater things. They will, if you've got a cell tower, it'll do cell phones and internet too.
Mm.
But you have to have power to each one of those things.
Mm.
They're fairly low power, and so if you can beam the signal at a cell tower, it'll pick up cell phone service too, wherever you happen to be. But it all is on line of sight.
Mm.
And so if you've got a little hill in your way,
You're gonna have
it
to
won't work.
repeat over the hill
Yeah, you have to
or the
here,
Right.
to get over there.
interesting fact, Greenhorn has Rally networks up there and they have cell service.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've had phone calls from there before.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is good for their emergency. It's good for emergency
Right.
purposes as well, but yeah, it surprised me.
Do they
They're,
have just phone or is it internet too? Do you know?
I don't know how much internet they have. They were talking about how they had cell phone access. And then in the center of town at the flagpole, there's a building there with Rally network on it. So. And we could ask Mayor Kohlermeyer about that and see.
So part of the broadband discussions where we're ending up with at this point, it's just there's a grant coming out. It's called the BTAP, and I can't remember, Broadband Technical Assistance Program, I think is what it stands for.
Right.
Yeah, and they don't have an exact date of when that grant is going to open up. They kind of tentatively said August, September, but we're there and so far nothing. So they think for sure by December it'll be opened up. And they're estimating a 2-month window to apply for those funds. And the max amount you can apply for is $100,000 to be used for technical assistance would be like hiring somebody to come in and do a study of where the broadband is and where it needs to go. And the focus is mostly on the unserved and underserved areas. That's where what they call the BEAD money, you've probably heard of that one, but so they want to focus on those two areas, and then you could apply for BEAD money to go in and do the build out. And
Okay.
so Bruce and I met yesterday and talked about next steps on where we go from here. Sarah helped tremendously in helping us kind of figure out what's coming up and what we need to do. So we're at a point where we think we need to go out and Sarah's time and money have run out. She was just a limited, less than 5,000. But we think we need to go out and hire somebody to apply for that grant, and then also help us in finding somebody else who can do the strategic plan, I guess, the study. And so we will probably be doing that maybe at the next session.
Putting in for the grant to
Yeah.
facilitate
Well,
both of those or
Coming back with between now and then, if you guys are good with this, is going out to bid to find a consultant to apply to help us with the application.
okay.
And so I think we're gonna start moving in that direction. And then have that at the October 4th session to hire that person or firm or whoever. And then they can then help us get another consultant on board to do our study and apply, of course, apply for that BTAP money. And then use the BTAP money to hire a consultant to go out and do the work.
Okay, okay,
So hiring two people essentially, one to apply for it and just kind of keep things going and keep us informed and do our, what's it called, the committee called?
Broadband action.
Oh yeah, BAT team. BAT team.
bad team.
Yeah, so. So, yeah. So to keep those meetings going, keep us communicating with the providers and finding
Right.
out where they're moving into and, what their game plan is. And then also getting somebody on board to do that study. So,
Right, and that second person who's going to do the study would be funded from the grant.
yes. So
Except,
there's, I think, a meeting Friday.
yes.
We're hoping to find out if we can also reimburse ourselves. We may have to front the money for the person to apply,
Okay,
the first consultant. So we may have to front it, but we're gonna find out if we can use that BTAP money to reimburse us somehow
okay,
for the first consultant. But otherwise, if not, we did set aside last year some of that lapsing money for the broadband.
Mhm.
So worst case scenario, we can tap into that. I don't think it would take that much to hire someone to do the application. And then, use the grant money to pay for the study.
Mhm.
And then from there, the next phase would be the BEAD money and actual build out, going out to bid, getting service into those areas
sure.
and what that looks like. That's
Okay.
gonna be major,
That'll
So-
be next year, hopefully.
for sure.
Okay,
So yeah, it'll be actually next year before we probably even implement and start using BTAP if we're awarded that money.
okay,
So, because if they don't open it up till December and then give us 2 months to apply,
right,
so
okay.
it'll be next spring probably.
It's a process.
It is.
Yes, we found out other things that were quite interesting. Thought Huntington wasn't gonna be covered, but somebody.
Wind wave,
Oh.
Yeah,
I think out of Pendleton.
They're the, aren't they the windmill
Yeah.
energy
that's what I
company?
thought too, but they're not, no, it's a,
Oh,
it's a internet provider.
Yeah.
oh,
It's actually in Laurel County.
Oh.
Where
Or Morrow, that's right.
Morrow
I thought
County.
it was.
okay.
and-
Wow.
Yeah,
But they're-
Huntington,
It was a total surprise to me that they were had a footprint in Baker County as well. And I thought, wow.
Well, I'll follow up with Mayor Kohlermeyer Greenhorn and see if he has cell and internet, how much internet, or what that
Yeah.
looks like up there.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll just send an email and put your addresses in there so that he can, any information
they'd have
will
it.
come back to you.
Yeah, if they've got a rally up there. I don't see why they wouldn't have it.
They do, and they were talking about how nice it was to have cell service.
So, I mean, I want to know if they got internet too, but.
Right.
So. Rally, we're not the cable up there or not, but.
And they're there. See, but yeah,
So how far is that from, the, lake up there,
from the lake,
down the hill?
Phillips Lake,
No,
or
Magone? No,
it's not that one. It's,
way out there.
I had it on the tip of my tongue, now I can't say it.
I know it's Vinegar Hill and Greenhorn.
When you drive up there, well, it depends on where you went, what side you went into Greenpoint.
I went from Sumter Highway, dropped down, and at the bottom before
Closer to
you,
Granite.
no, No, just took the highway, just the Sumter Highway, and then at the bottom, before you climb up Tipton, you take off and it's 11 miles
Okay,
to Greenhorn.
okay.
And that's where our road department trucks and everything were
Right.
going back and forth is there.
So that's the way Grant County gets in there too, but you can also go through Grant and.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
road
I knew
up
about
to
that.
Grant County Reservoir
Yeah.
there, the power station there, and, you know the name of it. Well, it's my own, but I can't say it right now.
Not
Olive
all,
Lake.
not, I was gonna say not
Olive
Olive Lake, is it?
Yeah, it is
Okay,
Olive Lake.
okay.
Yeah,
We were
there-
gonna go back that way, but time didn't. I had another meeting at 3, so
and so
I
I,
had to get back.
I've seen, lots of signs to Greenhorn there, but I've never gone up there. I've
Mhm.
been to Olive Lake and, but yeah, I'm gonna go up there, but I never did.
There's about 4 ways to get in there. So from Bates, from
So
where I
don't
went
know
in,
whether Grant
Tipton.
County has, internet to Olive Lake or not, but,
No, that's the nice thing about going out there to jump off Joe or any of that. There's absolutely no service. There's no radio. It's complete silence.
yeah, they,
I love it.
playing radios out in the lake.
You can't even play radio.
They do though.
Yeah.
I've heard of, but, they also have a lot of, neat trail system right there. Grant
Yeah.
County has a really good trail system.
Yeah.
So let's see, the other thing that's very important, at 12:30, I have a haircut today. So there's a museum meeting tonight, so,
Okay,
I won't be able to go to that water thing. But I could go to the museum.
sure.
I thought I was okay, but I found out that, I'm not.
Okay.
And then tomorrow, from 4 to 6 at Crossroads, it's the Oregon Community Foundation.
Yeah, you're gonna,
And
Go over
I
there.
will
Okay.
admit that I actually have business dealings with them on a frequent basis because I had trust
okay.
that had that. So, and then apparently I need to spend some time on the 8th and redo my calendar with the ethics training on the 12th.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
and that's all I have until
October 4th
towards
meeting?
the end of the month, and I start doing lots of traveling and stuff. So we also have, so some of the. Let's see, so the 20th would be when we would go to Anthony Lakes, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Calvin, Clarence Falls,
21st.
Heritage Day, and then I think back home on Sunday the 24th. And the District 1 meeting on the 29th is in Umatilla County.
Yes. And yeah, that's the District 1 meeting, the fire mapping at 2 PM that day. Yeah,
Okay.
all of that. So I plan to spend that day over there in Pendleton.
So,
Yeah.
So,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
thank you. Second. We'll move. All, except Shane, approved. Needs to be operating instructions.
Land bank.
It's
So let me know or Bruce know if that emergency management paper comes in with it marked out, or are you guys gonna do that? Are you letting them Gary Tim?
Yeah, I say just line it out and just do it there, and if he sends something different, we can sign it again.
Okay,